almost double the number of card payments. But now if we look at that number, this also tells us that 64% of those people, maybe 90% of them are not, I can say if literate is the right word to use, right? But they're not as exposed to this kind of information that we are here about today. So this now opens up a bigger window of all these challenges that we have, the cyber security. These are people who are not informed, but right? So I was just saying, let's know about the numbers in terms of who are participating and where could be the biggest risk. Now, some of the challenges that we have in the digital payment space, we have things like payment fraud and identity theft. These two are almost working together. You cannot separate them. For somebody to commit fraud, digitally, they would have to assume a certain identity for them to have that done. So what do we mean by identity theft? This is when somebody could be, maybe if we talk about card payments, they will be in a position to know the necessary information that allows them to make a payment, but disguise it as you, as the user. For instance, if they know your card number, the CVV number, which does not have two-factor authentication, then though that person would have assumed your identity and they would have been able to make a payment. So we have malware and phishing attacks. I'm not going to go into all of this because we have insider threats and data breaches. And the last one, which is an emerging one, which at this point, as a country, we might have not been exposed as yet, but it would be nice to know, is what we call as AI-driven attacks. And this is also called using AI maliciously. So this is a new technique that is being introduced. When we started, where artificial intelligence is being used for the good. But we also are aware that with technology, there's also the bad side where people will use these techniques in a bad way. So this is one of the ones that are coming, where systems are trained and are adaptive. They can learn and almost be invisible to our systems that safeguard us. So this is one to look out for in this space. Maybe in closing, I'm sure my time is almost up. We can look at the vulnerabilities in cards and mobile money transactions, which is maybe where we need to make a lot of awareness. We have things like card skimming and cloning. Having lived out of this country, I've seen a lot of this happen in ATMs, where you would go and withdraw money, and there's somebody who's hanging around there, loitering around those areas, banning the devices which are planted on the ATM, which look exactly like the normal ATM devices. You go there with your card, insert your card. Even once you insert this card, that device that is planted there is reading your card information. You enter your PIN, it reads the same PIN. So as soon as you leave the ATM, the guy who's planted this has your card information, meaning they make transactions using that information. They can also duplicate your card, buffer that card that you duplicated, the same information. So when I want to fill a statement, don't want to transactions that you are not really aware of. And in most cases, the smart guys usually use this. Reasonable for you to see. Just under 100 rand, which most of us here, your bank will only tell you about transactions that are above 100 rand. So this person, if they take 99 rand in every day, you are not aware of this. We also have risks that are from cardless payment, where your card, some of our cards here support cardless payments, where you can simply tap your card to do a transaction, right? If that feature is enabled, and then we have a card reader close by, which is able to read this. We had some of these scams when the cardless payments were were introduced. I know a lot of technology has then come to try and lower the risks. We also have in the mobile money space where SIM cards can be swapped, and then this only means once the SIM card is swapped, secondary SIM card in and if you have mobile wallets there's a level of risk that can be introduced on that as well. Now, as a way to mitigate this, we have things like end-to-end encryption and tokenization that is now being used when we do transactions. It is a requirement by the Central Bank of Lesotho, for instance, as a bank, for your devices to be PCI PIN compliant. Am I right there? This will apply for ATMs as well, and so on. But for companies like myself who are going to be playing in this space, who are not really banks, we might not be forced, tracked hard enough to make sure that you are compliant in terms of which if we throw